We started our teen special talking about teens and social media. Now we're diving deeper into cyberbullying. Did you know that 35% of Canadian teens are experiencing cyberbullying regularly? Here with insight and steps we can take to minimize it is Lisa Chang. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Love that you're here. Brutal topic.
Yes.
So which platforms is cyberbullying happening on the most?
Well, you know what? This unwanted and aggressive online behavior is growing in prevalence, but it's happening all over social platforms. If we're going to take it, from where it's happening the most down to the bottom, Snapchat, unfortunately, is where it's happening a lot.
Okay.
And then you have TikTok. On TikTok, it's also happening quite prevalently. And then you also have it happening on Instagram and Facebook. But in my research, what I also found is that it's actually happening on quite a few gaming platforms as well. So
interesting.
yeah, we really need to look at that.
Is there only one kind of cyberbullying, or are there several different types?
Again, the research shows that there are multiple types of cyberbullying. So let's get into it. The first is harassment. And harassment can be defined where we experience harassment in regular life as well. Sending a lot of messages online to someone who doesn't want to receive them, that is considered online harassment. You have cyber stalking, which is stalking someone's online activity, including obviously on social media. The next one is a term called denigration, and this is something that actually we see very often on social media. It's unfairly criticizing someone when you don't know the whole truth, or that could even involve derogatory comments as well. Happy slapping. I don't know if you've ever heard of this one, but this is actually filming embarrassing scenes or photos of someone and then allowing that photo or that video to be distributed. And that could even include taking a snapshot of someone on a platform like, let's say, Snapchat. Then you have things like exclusion. So it's things that we typically experienced on, let's say, the recess yard. Okay, we're not going to invite you into this group chat. Those things are happening online. Outing and tricking, deceiving someone to get their personal information, so that's a huge privacy issue in itself. Impersonating, and then you have indirect threats. And where threats are concerned, that's where you would need to escalate the situation and get authorities involved.
Absolutely. Okay, so how do you know the difference between online bullying and just like jokes?
Well, you know what? Even when we were kids, right? Kids can be cruel sometimes.
Yeah.
And they're going to sweep it under the rug as a joke. But the reality is that we have to teach what is called digital literacy. And it's really about, being critical of the way you feel online. If something is coming off as a joke and you don't feel like it's a joke, that's something to look at. But if it's happening over and over again and you've tried to address the situation, this is where cyberbullying comes into play. So again, we have to know where our boundaries are. As parents, we have to be able to teach this to our kids, teach them boundaries, and teach them that it's okay to demand respect, even on a social platform.
Yeah, and teach them that whatever don't send out anything you don't want to receive, right? Don't give that if you don't want to get it back. What can be the effects of cyberbullying? Because I can imagine it can be very debilitating. Very
debilitating, and it happens in multiple ways. So the first, of course, is mentally. It's going to attack things like your self-esteem, your confidence, the way that you show up in the world, much less the way you show up online. Then, of course, the way it's affecting you mentally is going to affect the way that you show up emotionally. So this can, ignite all kinds of emotions, from anger to embarrassment, all types of things. But the biggest one that we as parents have to look out for with our teens is the way that it's affecting you physically. Are you seeing your teens have sort of a loss of sleep? Are they tired? Are they experiencing things like stomach aches for no reason? That's where anxiety comes into play. But then they might be coming home with unexplained injuries or bruising. And of course, what we covered here today too is things like eating disorders or even suicide. And that's a reality that we absolutely have to look at.
What advice do you have for the parents, other than like getting on the apps with them?
You know what? A great reference point comes from the Dove Confidence Kit. I'm always going to stress that from a family perspective between the parents and the teens, communication and collaboration is key. I know that oftentimes that communication can be a hard thing, especially on social platforms. Sometimes the parents don't want to overstep, and a lot of times the teens don't want their parents to be involved. But we have to come together as a team in order to figure out what are safe boundaries. As a parent, do you get involved if you see that your kids are being bullied, or should you back off and let them handle it independently? That's step number one. Maybe that's something you evaluate. But always reassure and empower them. Speak confidence into your teens. And again, I'm always going to go back to having those regular conversations with your kids around what it means to be digitally literate and to be a digital citizen. Remind your kids that it's completely okay to unplug and walk away if they're feeling uncomfortable. If the way they're feeling about a post doesn't feel quite right, it's okay not to feed that algorithm. Spot patterns or block on social media is a big, big thing. Find out when bullying is taking place. And always remember, if bullying is taking place as a parent, it's always okay to talk to the school yourself. Biggest thing that I'm going to say is it's important as parents that you have to use and get familiar with the app yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Biggest thing.
And block and bless, block and bless.
Block and bless.
Right? Okay, Lisa, thank you so much. The Dove Confidence Kit is available on cityline.tv. I think it's a must read for every parent. We're going to head to break. We will be right back. Stay with us.